What is up, guys, gals, non-binary pals? My name's Naomi. Welcome to House of Miscellania. Today I'm coming at you with a WIP and chat. For those who do not know, WIP stands for work in progress, and I'm going to chat for about an hour, as is standard for the usual WIP and chats. For those of you who are new to the channel, welcome. For those of you who are coming back to see me, welcome on back. You are looking phenomenal. You get work done? You've been working out? You're looking pretty cut. Yeah. Uh, welcome. I hope that if you are new, you will consider subscribing, though we haven't met yet. So why don't you get to know me a little bit and see what you think? All right, let me get into my tools really quickly because I've got a bunch sitting here in front of me. Okay, let's start with a tray here. This one is from Made. Ooh, we like a Made tray. I just love this silk, the colors. Ooh, yummy, yummy, yummy. Like a I don't know, a violet blueberry or something. It has a removable lid and it has a removable stopper in here, which I usually do. It's a nice, compact, little small one. Made does make a larger size. This one is the smaller of the two sizes, but I love their color of silks. They're so magical. We've got the tray. I always set the lids and stuff aside. I'm also using a pen from Diamond Pen Pal. This one in particular is the Ajisai pen. Yes, this one comes from Diamond Pen Pal with permission from Margaret to use her artwork inside of a pen. And as it is the very last week of Mary Morales, I wanted to honor this beautiful pen from Diamond Pen Pal. Check out the back side. It has hydrangeas in it. Just, there we go. Focus up in on that baby. Yeah. She's beautiful. So this is from Diamond Pen Pal. I'm also using a pen as a straightener from Kevin's DP Pens. This one is a beautiful pen. It's not an event pen, but it is one that I did purchase before the event to make sure that I had something to show for Kevin's DP Pens. They are beautiful. I'm waiting on a beautiful hybrid from them as an event pen, which is just fine that it's coming after. I don't mind at all. And then in my single placer on my pen here, I am using Ghost from Diamond Painting Daily. I know, I always use Ghost. You're probably sick of hearing about it. From Diamond Painting Daily, you can find them over on Etsy. As well as the last two shops are on Etsy, Diamond Pen Pal and Kevin's DP Pens. Made is its own website. But Ghost is like a glue dot. It's white and turns clear when it dries, and it's a liquid that turns to solid. I'm gonna make a video on how to use Ghost. I just gotta make time. That's really all it is. And in my multi-placer here, I've got, this one is Satura, the event scent from Joy's Putty. And Satura is patchouli and a hint of lavender, because if I was a witch, and I am, I also smell like patchouli and lavender. And then this beautiful trinket tray comes from Pucky Pie Pores. This is their Simba size, which I imagine that means like a little cub. But look at those little fish. Isn't that beautiful? They just did a really phenomenal job on it. And it's almost like there's water at the bottom, and a little dog hair, a little water at the bottom. You can see it's kind of poured on top of those appliques or whatever. And it's like they're swimming in a little bathtub. And I love it. I love it so much. This is from Pucky Pie Pores, as well as my little friend cover minder here. I don't usually use a cover minder, but I wanted to let it, sit. This one is a little cute koi fish that came from Pucky Pie Pores for the event. I've got a few of these that are being given away during the event. Is it not the cutest? This one, I think I called it Hector. Yeah, Hector the fish. If you know, you know. Anyways, I'm going to set my fish back here. And then, of course, I've got my little tiger eye that I found on the ground. We're just going to leave that nearby. And as usual, I will be reading cards from the Fairy Oracle from Brian Froud and Jessica Macbeth. That comes later, though. We read a tarot card. The piece that I am working on is Down the Rabbit Hole by Margaret Morales for Mary Morales. Yes. Look at that. Is that not beautiful? Look at her. Oh, we love her. And as you can see, I am almost done. I am saving the squares that I have for the couple of lives that I have left and this WIP and chat. So this will be for the WIP and chat. This is for Thursday's live, and the last itty bitty square, that's going to be for Saturday night, the very last live where I give away the ultimate prize for Mary Morales. And for those who already know, this event has been going on for 2 months now, and it's almost over. And I'm both happy and I'm sad, and I'm not ready to talk about it yet because that'll be after it wraps up. I'll talk some more about, my thoughts and things like that about the event. But for this week, let's talk about other stuff. So I have a little funny story to tell. I was downstairs today and I hear my son's significant other up in the bathroom shrieking. Okay. And I don't mean like little, sissy girly sounds. I mean like shrieking, like on fire shrieking. And I'm wondering what the heck's going on. So all of a sudden my son goes running upstairs to see like what is happening. Is everything okay? Is somebody on fire? Whatever. And comes running back downstairs. Mom, Bacon caught a mouse. Okay, well, good. She's doing her job. That's a good thing. We appreciate that. And she apparently dropped it and let it go. And so my son's significant other and my son are apparently like, they close up the bathroom and they're determined they're going to catch this mouse, okay? Running around the bathroom, they're going to catch this mouse. Well, they did, and here's why. I'll try to remember to pop in a little picture here. And so, yeah, it's an itty-bitty baby mouse. I mean, this mouse was probably born a week ago, maybe, if that. It's tiny. And they managed to catch it inside of like a bath towel, okay? And then they're like, oh, I just popped my drills. They're like, Mom, what do we do with it? Like, well, you take it and you pitch it outside. I don't know. You're going to need to take it pretty far away, though, or it's just going to end up right back in the dang house. And they're like, but it's going to get cold out and the baby mouse. And I'm like, oh, my Lord. Like, what do you want to do? Keep it? Yeah, kinda. I'm like, oh, Lord. So, my son has it in his hand, just like this itty bitty little teeny baby mouse with, well, the mouse is about this long. Its tail is like 3 feet longer than the mouse, and is holding it in his hand like, oh, I want to, like tears in his eyes, but I want to keep it. I'm like, oh my Lord, no. Fine, whatever. You're taking care of it. I'm not doing anything with it. We put it in like a little tank, like just an itty bitty little carrier tank for small mammals. And well, we had been raising cockroaches for, yes, you heard me correctly, raising cockroaches for our lizards. Now, granted, all those cockroaches are now dead and or eaten, but we were raising like their special roaches, not like house roaches, for the lizards. Well, that little tank was empty, and so I gave it to him. I said, this will work for the time being. It's, it's not going to be a good permanent home, but whatever, you can figure something else out later. Well, so they decided to keep the mouse, got a hold of a friend who had Well, they said a 15-gallon tank, so I was like, yeah, that should be fine. 15 gallons is good. It's an itty-bitty teeny mouse. I mean, really, you could probably keep it in this tiny carrier forever, but, you know, whatever. Yeah, we're gonna go get this 15-gallon tank. I was like, all right, cool, go get your 15-gallon tank. They come back with a 29-gallon tank. I think it's bigger than a 29-gallon, if I'm being honest. I don't know, it's huge. And I don't know why the hell they would need that big of a tank for a teeny tiny mouse, but whatever. It's not my business. Don't care. I'm not taking care of it. But anyway, so now we have a pet mouse, and they named it, oh, let me try and remember what they decided to name it. They named it, oh, it was something based on a movie, because of course, I don't remember. Anyway, they named it something, and it's gonna be up in my son's room, I guess. I was like, well, you know, keep in mind that the cat's gonna try and knock it down, because the cat's gonna wanna knock it down. Not the 15 or the bigger tank, like that's not gonna happen, it's too big, but the smaller tank, the cat's gonna try and knock it over, mess with it, whatever. So be aware of that happening and whatever. But yeah, just a freaking baby mouse, a tiny house mouse, because there is a difference between field mice and house mice, and this one in particular is a house mouse. It looks like a house mouse, a baby house mouse, and it's cute. It's very cute. I'm not afraid of rodents, specifically mice, rats, just about anything. I've owned a lot of rodents. I had rats growing up. I've had, you name it. Like, if you name it as a type of pet, I've probably owned one. The only kind of thing that I didn't own that I wanted to own when I was younger was a sugar glider. Always thought those things were really cool. But I've had like chinchillas, I've had rats, I've had ferrets, which are not rodents, but small mammals. Bunnies, we've had just anything. So whatever. I'm not scared of it. I held it. It's cute. You pick them up by their little tiny tails, and they're really cute. But meh. So now we have a mouse, which really should have been cat food, but ended up a pet. Great. Wonderful. Okay, cool story. Cool little story. Some people already know this because I've already spoken about it. I'm waiting to hear back from Margaret. In fact, let me look on my handy dandy little computer here to see if she ever responded, because if you bought the release papers from the event, okay, then you know that the release papers, which, hold on, I'll get them out. The release papers I designed for the event specifically from Lowena's Designs. Little shameless plug there, and with reason, because they're the cutest. I mean, I say that, I designed them, right? And one of the challenges, if you were in Mary Morales, was to take all of their names and put it on different videos, and people did that. It was fun. And each of them had their own names, okay? So, Little Mizu, Tatsu, Yuki. No, this one's Tatsu. This one is Yuki. And this one is Kaida. Okay, that's significant. The last video that I posted this week on Monday was a video of Margaret Morales answering fan questions that we set up for her. And the fan questions she went through, she answered. She hasn't responded. Okay, I was just checking my email and no response. That's okay. Well, anyway, so in the video where she's recording her answers to interview questions, she's working on a piece. And the piece is for the Chinese zodiac year of the snake, because we are in the year of the snake now. Well, on her Instagram, she posted a picture of the finished piece that she was working on in the video, which she started, what did she tell me? Mid-December or something. And the piece that she titled is Eye of Kaida. I thought, okay, that is really weird. One, I don't know, and okay, I'm special, okay? I know I'm special. And I would love to think that she named it based on the event, and like that would be so freaking cool. And I asked her if she did. In fact, what I wrote was, here's a weird story for you. I designed some release papers. They are put on the diamond painting to keep the sticky part covered, because she might not know what a release paper is. That have elements of each of the diamond paintings with your art. There are rainbows for chroma, fox for onihime, hydrangeas for ajisai, etc. And I'm attaching a picture of one specifically, and here's why. Not only was this my favorite of the images I had created, but all of the dragons used on the release papers were named, and the one on the picture I'm sending was named Kaida. I noticed you recently named your Year of the Snake picture Eye of Kaida, and I had to laugh. I don't know if that was intentional or if you'd seen any of the videos where I go through their names, but I found it really funny anyway. If a coincidence, then I guess our minds were in the same space. How freaking weird, you guys. Completely. If coincidence is weird, if not coincidence is really, really an honor. And part of me, I don't know, part of me is like, I would love for that to be a coincidence, but I would also love that to not be a coincidence. Because if it's a coincidence, really freaking cool. I mean, I know she's very literal about her naming, and Kaida actually means little dragon in Japanese, and the Chinese believe that the snake is like a little dragon, so that makes sense. But you know, she names her pieces pretty literally, and that's probably why it's called Kaida. But the fact that it's called Kaida, and I just had named one of the dragons Kaida, I was like, this is so freaking weird. But everybody was trying to, you know, I was like, let me have my fantasy, guys, that she named it after something that I named, okay? Just let me have my moment. Let me be delusional, okay? It's not hurting anybody but me. What, I mean, and it doesn't hurt me. I would be honored, but that, or I'm just using my psychic powers, I guess. I don't know. Thought it was really freaking cool, though. Like, just, yeah, I don't know. Weird little story. Weird, but I love it. I absolutely love it. What do you do, you know? What do you do? You gotta ask, was it intentional or not intentional? Oh, sugar, what are you whining about over here? For those of you who are not on my lives usually, let's just go ahead and take care of something right now. There's something that I do every live, well, basically every live. I don't think I did today because she was quiet, but I always do what's called a sugar shaming. Come here, sugar. Come here, sugar. This is Sugar, and we always sing a song when we shame her. Oh, sugar, do, 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 do. Oh, doggy, doggy, do, 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 do. You are an annoying dog, and you're always bothering me. This is Sugar. She is my chihuahua. She's my chihuahua. She has no teethers. She's losing all her teethers because she's getting older. And, well, she has a terrible overbite. And her overbite causes her to have constant air in her mouth. And that's not good for your teeth. So her breath is awful, as you can imagine. And I guess she just needed some love and attention really quick. But this is Sugar. This is Sugar. She's cute. I always talk about beans. Always talk about beans, and Sugar gets, you know, sugar shames during the lives, but Bowie never really gets talked about. Bowie's a good girl. Bowie is my good dog. She is a border collie, and she's my good girl. I'll try and pop in some pictures of my doggies so that you can see. If you're new, then you don't really know. Beans is a Great Pyrenees, and he is just about to turn 2 in March on the 10th. Sugar is about to turn 6 in, when is her birthday? Her birthday is in May. And then Bowie's got to be 8 now, or thereabouts. She's got to be about 8. And I'm not sure when her birthday is, because she was a rescue from an abusive home. And, you would think that if you rescue a dog early enough that they wouldn't remember their abusive situation. That's so not true. She was 5 months old when I got her, and she remembers very, very well. Very well. Beans is a Great Pyrenees, and Bowie is a border collie. And if I remembered to put in photos, then you know that she's a border collie. You can tell looking at her. And actually, she is a mix. She is a border collie and Bernese mountain dog mix. You would never know it looking at her because she looks all border collie. She's tiny like a border collie. She has all border collie traits. She's nervous. She's anxious. She herds things, and yeah, she's all border collie. But now I have Sugar on my lap because she was just sitting there whining at me, and I knew she wasn't going to stop until I brought her up here. So anyway, you got a bonus sugar shaming out of the WIP and chat. That's new. And then where are we at for time? Okay, so last week, apparently I put my foot in it, and that's okay. That happens. It maybe not often, and I stand by everything that I said, but maybe like the way that I said it wasn't understood as to what I was talking about or what I meant. And there were a couple of points specifically that I think maybe struck a chord with people or struck a nerve. And my intentions are never to harm anyone or hurt anyone or offend anybody. Like, that's never my point. I reiterate to people often that one, I have autism, and that's not an excuse. What I'm trying to lay out is sort of a reason for things, and that is with regard to having autism, especially as an adult, I tend to say literal things, not realizing that other people take these things as there could be some subversive meaning to what I'm saying, or reading between the lines, and there are no lines. I don't understand those lines necessarily. I do understand those lines, but I don't understand those lines in the way that others do. And so when I say something, I say what I mean. I don't mean anything subversive. I'm not trying to be sneaky or whatever. So when I say something, I say what I mean. And sometimes the way that I say things can be hurtful unintentionally. So let me clarify a couple of points about what I said last week during my WIP and chat, so that I can maybe explain a little bit better, like where my headspace was when I said what I said, okay? I think one point that maybe got a little twisted up or misunderstood was when I talked about, you know, some negativity, especially in our community. One of the things that comes to my mind as far as negativity in our community is concerned is the theft of intellectual property from the artists who are licensed in our community with regard to diamond painting. And Margaret Morales touched on it in her interview about how when she worked for Daimoon Shop and she started selling her artwork to diamond painting companies, that she noticed the theft of her artwork went up drastically. If you go and look on AliExpress right now on Evermoment, which is one of the most popular diamond painting companies for making customs and things like that, there are, and I'm not telling you to go buy them. I'm not telling you this so you go buy them just so you can have the piece of Margaret art that you want for cheaper or whatever, because that's theft. I'm telling you because if you go look, there are so many Margaret pieces on there. I was looking just the other day because I was actually thinking about getting a custom, which, you know, I'm interested in getting one. I have a piece of licensed art that I paid for the original, and I've spoken to the artist. I have permission to make a diamond painting out of it, and I was looking at prices, and I happened to, as soon as I popped up the page, first stuff that comes up is Margaret's. Next was Bear Brick Gia's. I saw Mrs. Butter D. I saw, what's her name? Svetlana I can't remember. I did an unboxing of a piece by this artist. Anyways, doesn't matter what her name was right at the moment. But I had mentioned that watching content creators that do massive unbaggings of unlicensed art contributes to the problem. Okay. That is a true factual statement. It is fact that when you watch content creators who do unbaggings from inexpensive or unlicensed companies, you do put money in the pockets of those unlicensed companies because most people eventually go buy. It gets more views for those people. That is not sour grapes. There was one person who said sounds like sour grapes. It is not that. All success to every creator, no matter what you're doing out there, whatever. You found your niche, and if you're sponsored and you're happy, then that's great. And if you're making money, that's amazing. I'm glad for you. I am not so thrilled about the stolen artwork that exists out in our community. I was also not saying subversively, because I don't speak in that way. I was not saying don't buy unlicensed artwork. Buy what you can afford. I've purchased unlicensed artwork. Some of it was AI, some of it was stolen and I didn't realize it. I found the artists that I didn't realize I had stolen, and I shot them a little money on PayPal because I felt like, let me get you something for the piece of artwork that I didn't realize that I stole from you. I am not saying don't buy unlicensed art. I'm saying don't buy stolen art. And that's something that I have said from time immemorial. Buy what you can afford. In fact, there are lots of licensed companies that you can buy from that are really in everybody's budget. But if that's not in your budget, it's not in your budget. And if it's cheaper for you to buy 50 canvases from a company that charges, less money for a large canvas, like the one I'm working on right now. Maybe you can get a canvas the size that I'm working on, not the same artist, for $15 or something on Temu or Amazon or AliExpress. And you do you, boo. You do what you gotta do. I'm just saying not to perpetuate the theft of artwork from the artists that use their art to make our lives better in diamond painting. That's all I was saying. Again, I don't speak in subversive messages. I don't say things that I don't mean. And I wasn't saying don't buy unlicensed art. So that being said, it was not sour grapes on any content creators. It was just merely me saying, please don't buy things that are stolen. That's all. Another point that I think also got missed a little bit, and there was one comment, and I meant to go back and respond to it, and then I kept forgetting, and I kept forgetting, and I have autism, so I just, when it's out of my brain, it's out of my brain. There was one person where they were kind of explaining how some people use their channels to vent, and it's their channel, and they can do what they want. And, they, even though like they would never let someone else say a mean thing about their families, like they're allowed because it's their families, or words to that effect. I am paraphrasing, very loosely paraphrasing. Okay, so without outright saying who I'm talking about, which again, I'm not going to do, I wasn't talking about people venting about their spouses or their kids or their loved ones, just whatever. I wasn't talking about that. And without citing specific examples, which would kind of give away who I was speaking about, it would be hard for me to explain that in a better way, except to say that what I'm talking about, it's not somebody who is just simply venting. It is someone who consistently harps on people in their lives, and consistently paints the people in their lives as unsupportive, or just, again, you can talk about anything that you want on your channel. You can, or people who are content creators can talk about anything that they want on their channel. They can vent about anybody that they want to. Some of the things that a person has said that I was talking about are like heinous, really heinous things about their supposed friends or family members. And to me, in my own opinion, if you are willing to say really heinous, gross things about your friends or your family members, then likely, one, I am not special. So if you're speaking in that way about people that you actually like, what makes me believe that you are not then saying heinous and really nasty things about me? I'm not special. So I'm not foolish enough to think that if you would speak that way about people you like, then people that you just know or are peripherally aware of, that you would not say horrible things about them. Now, granted, this person might not even know, well, I know they know who I am because they've spoken really poorly about me before, and that's fine. No, I'm not going to be everybody's cup of tea, and I'm okay with that. I am at peace. I, in fact, mention many times that I am not for everybody. My attitude is not for everybody. My content is not for everybody. I, as a person, I am not for everybody, and that's okay. But that was what I was talking about. Everyone is entitled to bitch or complain or vent or whatever about anybody they want to, and they could do what they want. I was merely saying that when you watch that kind of content creator, one, you're really just kind of taking on their negativity, their stuff, and that is all I was getting at. Maybe you just don't want to invite that element into your life. So those were the two main points that I really wanted to touch on, because I think that's the part that got the most misunderstanding. And I still stand by what I said. I said what I said, and I stand by what I said. I said it with my whole chest and all of those phrases. I said what I said. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to backtrack out of it. I did try to put up a statement. Oh, and the last thing. Everything that I say, guys, on my channel is 100% my opinion only. And I am by no means an expert in anything except for being myself. I'm an expert on my life. I have a lot of experience with a lot of different things. I've got probably a doctorate's worth of experience as far as mental health and addiction go. I do not have a doctorate in mental health or addictions. I do have personal experience that I have kind of cultivated over the many years of my life, but I'm not licensed to be a therapist. I'm not licensed as an addiction specialist. I merely state my opinions, and anything that is said on my WIP and chats, anything that is stated on my channel is merely my opinion. And I am not God. I have never claimed to be God. I am not the arbiter of all things diamond painting. I am not the arbiter of all things mental health. And anything that I say, you can take it or leave it, and there are never going to be hard feelings, because I'm only talking about what works for me and what I do for myself. And if you choose to also do these things, that's great. If you don't, that's great. I by no means expect anybody to follow advice that I give. If you do, you do. If you don't, you don't. Just be happy. That's all. Just be happy. I want you guys to be happy, and not to think that I have some ulterior motive or some, subversive message or whatever. Like, I don't speak in that way. I speak in probably too much literal truth. The truth that I speak is probably way too literal and way too often, and it gets me into trouble. I mean, I've told you guys the story about how I accidentally called a girl a manatee. I stick my foot in it more often than not. And so just know that sometimes I'm going to say things or do things that are going to be stupid or put my foot in it or whatever. But those of you who know me, or those of you who don't, will get to learn that my intentions are never to harm. And if I harmed anybody or if I hurt anybody by what I said, I'm very, very, very sorry that you feel that way. It is not my intention. Does that mean that I take back everything that I said? No. I still meant what I said. I am very sorry, though, for how it made you feel. Because even though I have no control over the way that you feel and what is said, I do have some control over at least what you understand to be the final message of what I'm saying. And so that's why I'm clarifying that, nothing was meant, no offense was meant. And if you took offense, I'm sorry. But all that said, okay, I have a tarot card to read to you. Let me move these things and put this back down so we don't get anything on our diamond painting. I have already shuffled these cards, and this top one, oh my God, it just went boop right out of the deck. So it's our card, and I want to know what it says, because clearly this is the message that I'm supposed to get this week, or that we are supposed to get this week. So let's find out what it is, okay? Shall we? All right, I'm going to turn it over, and oh, what is this? Mickle a muckle? Mickle a muckle? I think that's what that says. Look at it. It's so cute. Little naked fairy. I love it. I love his buck teeth. His silly little acorn hat or whatever that is. So adorable. All right. Mickle a muckle. It's probably like, Naomi, quit putting your foot in your mouth. Oh, turn right to the page. Love when that happens. Okay. And it was upside down. So... okay, let's see. Yeah, it's mickle a muckle. All right. Keywords are everyday blessings, play, and mixed blessings. All right. It says lighten up. Lighten up. What is needed here is the benefit of a childlike, trusting heart and childlike wisdom, seeing directly into the true nature of things. Don't complicate matters. What you see is what you get. Don't look for hidden and subtle meanings and motivations, because they are not there in this case. Go to the heart of the matter, the simple core hidden behind complexities. Don't be so caught up in thinking about the future that you can't see what is happening now. Welcome adventure into your life. Try something you've never done before. And take some time to play with mickle before you turn into a grumpy glump or a worn-out werg. That it literally says a grumpy glump or a worn-out werg. Whatever those things are. Okay. So literally what I've been saying this whole time is don't look for hidden and subtle meanings and motivations, because they're not there in this case. Look directly into the true nature of things and don't complicate matters. What you see is what you get. And honestly, I have felt like with regard to my life, I have always been a what you see is what you get person. I have been. I don't know really how else to exist. And I think some of that is autism. I think some of it is maybe like insulation of myself. Deflection with humor, or deflection with knowledge even. Like, I worry that if I speak incorrectly, that I'll be seen as cruel, or if I speak incorrectly, that I will be seen as incompetent, or that I'll be seen as hasty, or whatever. Any manner of things that I'm trying to avoid people seeing me as. And it's hard because I'm very much a what you see is what you get person. And I'm mostly rational. I would like to think that most of the time I'm speaking rationally. Yes, there are things that get my emotions very high, and that I can tend to catastrophize things, and I've talked about that before. That is definitely one of my faults, is catastrophizing, and I can often think that, you know, something is the end of the world when really it is just the next step or the next pattern in things. And I don't like change. I've never liked change. And so when the death of a pattern is coming, I rail against it like no one's business, and I tend to take it or myself far too seriously. And really, at the core of myself, I'm goofy. I like to have a good laugh. I am hurt easily. I back down when it isn't something that I feel like is going to accomplish anything. In the end, I back down kind of easily with certain people because sometimes it's just too hard to explain my position. It's too hard to explain where I'm coming from, and so I just don't. And sorry, I'm just looking at these drills to see if, yeah, they're all from this diamond painting. I thought for a second it was part from it. No, it doesn't even matter. I got distracted. Anyways, I am very what you see is what you get in basically every way that matters. And so I can be a bit much to deal with, I feel like sometimes, because, as I've stated, I'll ask a question. And for those who do not understand autism, when I ask a question, it can seem like a judgment. I'll ask somebody, why are you doing it that way? And they think that because when they ask that type of question, oftentimes it's a judgment on somebody else. Like, why are you doing it like that? Or that you are not competent, or that you don't know what you're doing, or that you are in some way foolish. And because often when someone asks a question like that, they mean, ugh, why are you doing it like that? Whereas me with autism, when I ask a question like, why are you doing it like that? I'm truly trying to understand your pattern, or I'm trying to understand your method, or I'm trying to understand you. And when I am asked that question myself, like, ugh, why are you doing it like that? I literally think you want to know why I'm doing what I'm doing, and you want me to explain what I'm doing. And I do. And so I don't take questions as offensive or like ulterior motive. If you would like me to, you're going to have to let me know that, you know, all sarcasm intended here. Why are you doing it like that? Because otherwise I'm just going to think that you want me to explain my process. And so I tend to over explain things. And then when I do over explain things, it can seem like I'm being defensive, and I'm really not. I'm just trying to help you to better understand what my motive or my patterns are. And again, if people just take me at face value and then don't say hurtful things when maybe you thought I was being subversive, like, that would really help. Because somebody just, it doesn't matter who, and it doesn't matter exactly what was said, but after the video that I posted last week, there was something really, really hurtful said to me, regarding how, just vaguely, and I'm only saying this not to point anybody out or to make anybody feel bad, just I wanted to explain my feelings, right? Had mentioned that with like more subscribers, the more I change or whatever. And one, I don't feel that. I really hope that it was just something that they said, like, out of frustration or out of anger with what they thought that I was saying, because I feel like I'm the same person that I've always been. I mean, if that's not true, definitely let me know that something seems disingenuous, because I'm me. I only know how to be me. I don't know how to be anything else to a fault. Like, if I could, it, I feel like if I could mask a little bit better, um, that I would probably be a lot better off, and then this channel would be a lot more successful. If I could have masked, I probably could have saved myself a lot of heartache at the beginning with regard to fitting in better and not being hurt when I felt like I was being excluded, and all of this. So for someone to say that as my subscriber count goes up, I change, was really hurtful. And no, I don't need you to apologize publicly on here and call yourself out. I don't need you to apologize to me at all. I'm only, because what you say, like, you have no control over the reaction that I'm going to have to what you say. Only I do. And so my stuff is 100% on me. So that being said, I took it very personally because I'm really trying to be fully my authentic self. Foot in my mouth sometimes. That's why I took the video down for a minute and then I put it right back up. So I was like, you know what? Just like my autistic rant that I went on the one time and I didn't end up like editing everything out. I didn't try to make it look perfect because I am not perfect. I just kind of wanted to show people what that looks like when I'm all over the place and I'm like lost and I can't gather my shells, and I'm very much trying to be a what you see is what you get person. And if that is not the vibe that I'm delivering, then I want to know what about what I am putting out there, it seems disingenuous or different or whatever, because I would like to put that under a microscope and look at it more closely. And I don't need anybody's words of affirmation. I don't need anybody to go down in the comments and say, oh my God, you're exactly like you were when you first started out or whatever. I don't need that. I mean, granted, your opinion is your opinion. And if you think I've changed, then you think I've changed. And if that's the case, please let me know what it seems different. You can send me a message on Discord. You can send me an email, houseofmiscellania@gmail.com. Like, if you want to have a private discussion about it or an open discussion, I'm down. I'm asking. But I would really, I probably overanalyze that every time I post a video. Like, do I sound fake? Do I sound too much? Am I too rehearsed? Am I too perfect? Am I giving the impression that I want to give? And I would say that for the most part, when I post a video, I put it up because I felt like it was very authentically me. Because I am a what you see is what you get type person. Especially because I don't always have an inner monologue, or I don't always have the right response to things, or I say things that come off as hurtful and I certainly don't mean them to be. I'm more or less just thinking about the literal words coming out of my mouth, not the subversive meanings behind it. you know. And it's all a challenge every single day. Again, I probably say this on a weekly basis that I am just working toward a better me. All of me talking like I do on my WIP and chats is more or less my open journal. It's like I'm dictating to a video journal, and I can go back and look at these and see where I was when and how I was doing when and what I learned when. Like, all of this is a learning experience for me. You guys just happen to be along for the ride. You are on one woman's journey to using diamond painting to better my mental health and to stay sober, because that will be a journey that I'll be on until I'm dead. And you're here to, I guess, bear witness to the fact that I existed on this planet, that I meant something to at least a couple of people, that I'm not as alone as I think that I am, all those things, and that at the core of me, I'm always going to try to be exactly who I am. I'd like you to know that when you walk into my space, not my space, not like, you know, you're Tom and it's the old days and you're at myspace.com. I mean, when you enter this space, the House of Miscellania space, that what you see is what you get, and that I, regardless of your position in life, whether you're rich or poor, whether you're pretty or ugly, whether you are funny or serious, whether you are whatever you are, that I accept you as you are. And I expect you, like me, to come as you are, to be what you are, to be authentically you, and to be what you see is what you get. Because that's what I am. And if for some reason you're not getting that vibe, or if for some reason you think that it's all just some game or something, like, I am deadly serious. This is my life, you guys. It's my life. And I share it openly and honestly because it's a way to show people that there is no perfect. There's only acceptable to you and who you are right now. And that's okay. That you're not perfect. I'm not perfect. I don't want to be perfect. Perfect is really boring. I mean, Margaret Morales with her artwork, she sure as hell comes close. Not boring at all. I am still on a journey. I am not a perfect person. And all of these things are, as always, only my opinion. But I hope all of that made sense. I'm on a journey and you're on it with me, for better or worse. And I'm very, very, very thankful that you're here, because having people to sound like, to kind of bounce these things off of is so beneficial to my mental health. Like, you have no idea. I was alone for a long time in my early sobriety, and I was afraid I was going to be that way forever. And the fact that I'm not, still to this day, blows my mind a little bit, because I guess I didn't think that anybody would care, you know? Anyway, waxing poetic. I hope that you understand what I mean, and that regardless of any of it, that we all can still be friends, that you can see the heart of me and the intentions that I have, and understand that there is no hidden motive. It's just me, and it's always been me, and it's always going to be me. Anyway, I am proud of you. I'm proud of you today because you are listening to that voice inside of you that asks for better from yourself or from others. I'm proud of you for putting forth effort. I'm proud of you for listening to your guts, your instincts, your anima, the thing that makes you you, the thing that makes you tick. That you listen to that part of yourself because it's the most beautiful part of yourself. And try maybe to be a little more what you see is what you get, and see what you get. Because it might surprise you. It might surprise you. You know? Anyway, I suppose I'm going to finish this square up, but I will wrap up with you. I could probably, what's her name? Messy Girl Crafts? Yeah. Messy Girl Crafts Girl. I could probably turn this into a 3-hour whip and chat, but I don't think anybody wants that. I think we would all probably get tired of listening to me after a while. Now, if I had more stories to tell and things like that, like if I could sit here and think of like, oh, let me tell you about the time that, because I do have a gajillion and one stories to tell. That being said, I'm not going to keep you here for 3 hours. I love you, and maybe you love me, but I don't want to try your patience in that sort of way. Oh, man. Anyways, all right, guys. I want to thank you for sticking around, watching the whole whip and chat. If you made it all the way to the end, why don't you put a fist, like a fist symbol for mickle a muckle, because it sounds like knuckle to me. Don't ask me to explain my thought process behind that, okay? Because I don't know. But just do like a solidarity type, fist bump, whatever, in the comments, so I know you made it all the way to the end. Or maybe you didn't. Maybe you scrubbed through to the end and now you're listening and you're like, oh, look at that. She just said put a fist bump out there. Yeah, put a fist bump down there and let me know that you're listening. And also, again, if there's something that you feel is disingenuous or different or whatever, then please, 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 please send me a message, an email, anything, and let me know what you're seeing that maybe I'm not seeing, okay? And then if you were new here and you liked what you heard, maybe consider clicking that subscribe button. Y'all are amazing. I hope that wherever you are in this great, big, beautiful world, that you are having a terrific morning, evening, or afternoon, whatever time it is, wherever you are. All right, you beautiful freak. I will see you again on the next one. All right. Much love. All right. Goodbye, guys.